of Lizzo's former dancers are suing the pop icon for the, quote, weight shaming and sexually denigrating behavior they claim they've experienced while working with her, as well as the pressure they say to participate in disturbing sex shows. This is according to Page Six. Now, according to the suit, during a concert trip in Amsterdam with Lizzo that took place this past February, dancers Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez, claim Lizzo took them on a night out during which they eventually found themselves in the red light district, an area of the city known for its sex theaters, clubs, and shops. Then, quote, things quickly got out of hand. Lizzo began inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers, catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas, and eating bananas protruding from the performers' vaginas.
Okay. Plaintiffs Davis and Williams say they were eventually fired, and Rodriguez allegedly resigned over the Truth Hurts singer's, quote, stunning behavior, according to the lawsuit. The suit also says that Lizzo pressured and goaded Davis into touching one of the nude performers. Lizzo's former creative director, Courtney Hollenquest, shared this message on Instagram yesterday. For clarification, I'm not a part of the lawsuit, but this was very much my experience in my time there. Big shout out to the dancers who had the courage to bring this to light. Hill TV has reached out to Lizzo's team for comment on the allegations in the lawsuit, have not heard back at the time of taping. And you told me something, Briahna, that I did not know. In fact, Lizzo references this legal action, this lawsuit, in the lyrics of one of her songs.
Not necessarily this lawsuit, but a lawsuit. In her song Rumors, she has the lyric, had to cut some hoes loose, yeah, NDA, no loose lips, now them hoes trying to sue me. And people have been circulating a clip of her music video singing that line as, you know, a confession of sorts. And look, I think the big ticket, the top headline of this story is kind of betrayal. I think many Lizzo fans were shocked at this news precisely because her brand has been to be super inclusive, especially about different body types, unconventional body types in beauty. She had a reality show where she auditioned dancers, plus-size dancers for her show. She uses plus-size dancers. She affirms plus-size dancers. She herself is plus-size and is very vocal about that and has gotten a lot of flack for not feeling the pressure to slim down the way that so many other celebrities do. And the allegation that she engaged in some kind of body shaming does feel like very dissonant. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
And it is. So we should be clear. It is just an accusation. It's
right.
You know, one side of a lawsuit. For all we know, these people could have been fired for legitimate reasons and are now, you know, trying to bring up. Maybe telling truthful experiences that were unpleasant, maybe exaggerating them, maybe, like, who knows? You know, maybe did she actually force them to go to this sex club?
Let's talk about
this
that.
Sounds like a night that got out of hand. Obviously, you know, Lizzo's no different from any other employer. You have to be careful, you know, doing these kinds of things,
right.
Social things with employees. But did she really make them go to it? You know, what happened there? You know, these are some...
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, again, like you say, there but for the great, like you were making choices as an employer when you choose to engage socially.
Yeah.
At the same time, the idea that people become friends on a tour, you're in a place like Amsterdam that is known for its red light district, that you would go to a district that's known for sex work and engage.
I mean, if she was like, eat that banana or I'm firing you, then obviously they're going to sue.
Or if there was so much peer pressure. I mean, and so many women have made these arguments over the years that working in these masculine dominant industries where deals are being made at strip clubs, even though you technically could decline to go, there is a professional cost of not going. Is this one of those kinds of scenarios? I mean, it's possible. It would be hypocritical for me to say that I understand the complaints of women who don't want to be forced to go to strip clubs in the 80s or 90s or whatever, but not be sensitive to the idea that someone who's in a very sex-positive environment, the way that Lizzo shows are sex-positive, might not also feel pressure to say that they were okay or comfortable in very sexually explicit spaces, even though they might not be. That's completely fair. But there's this one other detail that I think has gotten sidestepped a little bit. Not
wanting to get out of the... Go ahead.
Davis...
you describe it, not me. It's too gross.
Wait, what are you alluding to?
You do yours first.
Well, I was going to switch gears. So if you wanted to say something about the actual
No, I thought I
acts.
read in there was also now one of the dancers said she didn't want to that she soiled herself on stage because Lizzo was she didn't
allow her to take a break.
bathroom break. Yeah.
Yeah, so those kinds of complaints feel more like in line with what you would expect perhaps in a hard driving industry where there's a lot of competition. Again, it feels like a betrayal because I watched Lizzo's dance body positivity show. I thought I was just going to put it on in the background and kind of ignore it. But I ended up watching all of it closely because she was so wholesome. And the way that she treated her dancers was so supportive. And
In this carefully manufactured reality.
It's a reality show, yeah, sure, but like that's what makes it feel like such a betrayal. But we should point out that part of the original reporting noted that Davis, who's suing Lizzo, was fired in May for recording a meeting during which Lizzo had given out notes to dancers about their performances. Now, is this a disgruntled employee who, whether or not we think that recording a meeting is a fireable offense, is something that is more legitimate and not
firing someone for
you're not firing someone for being in a protected class. You're not abusing them in a workplace. Right. You know, an employer has a right to say, hey, I want an expectation of privacy here. Please don't record me. If you do, I'm going to fire you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if she was fired for that and then only subsequently brought up all of these complaints, that makes this look a little bit different. I'm not saying that's what happened. And you can have had legitimate complaints that you suppressed because you wanted a job, you needed to keep your job. We live in capitalism, you need to keep a roof over your head. Recording
people you work with or in the content, that is just a no-no.
So is this just a revenge
I said
lawsuit?
the same thing with, remember, what's his face, his dispute with Crowder and the dispute with the Daily Wire. He thought this was going to make him look good. He's like, aha, I have this secret recording. And everyone's like, You recorded a phone call with a friend who was like offering you millions of dollars to make a show for them, and you think you're the good guy? Yeah, so it could be. I mean, again, the meeting. In the meeting, according to this reporting, Lizzo had given out notes to dancers about the performances. So was Lizzo being like, you dumb fat bee, like you can't dance to save your life? And is that why Lizzo then fired her? Because she was embarrassed by what she had said. There could be many contours to this. I'm sure we'll find out a lot more because people on the team are talking. People on the dance crew, former employees and the like, are all on Instagram doing Instagram stories and corroborating. That's part of also what's been so surprising, that other people in Lizzo's orbit have corroborated the stories in the lawsuit instead of what I might have expected from like a sincerely kind of good person, everybody closing ranks and defending her against the lawsuit. This was coming so quickly on the heels of the only thing that has really ever made me remotely interested in Lizzo, which was I think it was a reel or a TikTok or YouTube short, I don't know what it was, of her doing the flute, fluting the Lord of the Rings theme music with the Shire, with the bag end like green screened behind her, I think. I don't know that she was actually there. Maybe she was on the set. I don't know. And it was really lovely. Look, she's very talented. I watched it a couple times. I don't think... I swiped back to see it start over again. I'm going to have to check that out. I missed that one. Good. Look, she's talented, and she has also gotten a lot of, I think, unfair flack from people, either about her weight. People didn't like that she played the Revolutionary era they didn't like
flute. Remember that?
That she twerked as she was doing it.
They didn't like that she twerked while playing Thomas Jefferson's flute or whatever it was. Like, and I think all of that stuff is really silly. And I think because she has been so, I think, unfairly maligned, I mean, many of us have defended her and feel a certain degree of solidarity with her when she's been tried to be canceled by the woke left, if you will, for having, I think, the word spaz in one of her songs, which increasingly is perceived as a
yep, they put her on. They charged her with thought crime for that.
But she didn't lash out. She simply changed the lyric and kept on pressing in a way that people thought was very graceful. She's been moving through the public space very gracefully. So if this is a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation, it's one of the most extreme ones I've ever seen, and I'm genuinely surprised. I'm waiting to hear more. Yeah. Because I am, the only reason I kind of am really crediting this is because of the corroboration from others that have come out. Yeah. But I also, it does seem like there's some underlying dispute that might be the root of the discord between the plaintiffs
There
and
could be
Lizzo.
some bad behavior on both sides. It could be that she's a very demanding and at times too harsh boss employer, and she was somewhat cruel to these people, but also that there was some bad behavior in terms of making a recording you're not supposed to make, and then who knows about the visit to the brothel or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say about that.
That is tough. That one's going to be a blurry line. Co-workers
sometimes they're
choosing
friends,
to go out and I mean, this wasn't also like inviting a sex worker to the office and like forcing complaint. I mean,
yeah, that's a no-no.
I guess it's possible not to know what the red light district is in Amsterdam and to find yourself. I know this sounds like victim blaming. I don't mean that at all. And you can choose to go to a red light district and observe without wanting to actually participate, touch dancers, eat bananas, anything like that. And it's in their right to refuse. But what's the line between, come on, girl, it'll be fun, and you better do this or I'm going to be fired? I mean, it's blurry lines. I'm sure people had also taken advantage of the legal substances that are available in Amsterdam, or at least been drinking out in the town, and what role does that play in these kind of scenarios? It's why it's best for employers just not to do it.
On the substances, and then later you're like, oh, that was really embarrassing. I wish I hadn't done that.
Life is messy and complicated, but I look forward to continuing to follow this one for sure. It's a fascinating case. More Rising for you right after this.